All right, we swapped. Okay. What's up, everybody? We're currently in a undisclosed car, heading to an undisclosed location. We got Abdul and Summer Lee here, and their entire teams are here as well. We're heading to Michigan State University first, right? We're going to be doing Michigan State first. We're going to be doing some speeches. There's going to be a rally. It's indoor or outdoor?
Indoor.
Indoor, hopefully.
Thank God.
It's still like 20. The sun is out, but it's still like 27 degrees outside.
Yeah,
that's not great.
It is very cold, but the spirits are high, yeah, I'm excited.
So welcome to Michigan, man. Thanks for coming out. Summer, thank you so much. I feel like Pennsylvania and Michigan are basically like siblings.
Definitely.
They're basically siblings. We I've been trying to get somebody to run for Senate in Pennsylvania against somebody.
Our Senate races.
Who shall remain unnamed.
Your Senate races way closer. We should definitely.
Listen,
we should be focused on what
is
happening right now.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I'm trying to build a
important Senate race. What is it? What are you guys?
That somebody was
what are
on.
you? August?
We're August 7th for the. Oh, sorry, August 4th for the primary. November 3rd for the general.
I think this door is a little bit open, by the way.
Like it's
I don't think they closed it fully.
Oh man.
Just so you guys know.
All right, so we gotta.
I'm just letting you know, it's fine.
I feel a little
March,
stressed.
if you fly off, I'll hold you. Okay. Only because you're connected to the camera and the bag. Otherwise, I'd be like, all right, you're out. You know.
I'll save you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll save you. Thank you. That's not Medicare for all spirit.
Yeah. Okay, how are we feeling? I mean, there's gonna be like walk me through. I've never done a stump before, and the thing is,
I don't even know what a stump is.
I didn't even know what it is, and I also didn't even think that it was like anything different than what we've done together in the past. Like, you come on my stream, we've worked out together. I've like visited him before.
He's been to Michigan. I took him to
he's fed
I got him the meal. I should have probably gotten you guys. But next time you guys come, I'm gonna get you that meal.
But we're not gonna do. I don't align businesses. Like he's the A-list. Yeah, no, I don't. That's what I'm saying, right? I don't align businesses.
No, actually.
But it does feel like
here's
not rolled out here.
Hey, I rolled out a pretty good red carpet. The problem is Wasi only eats zabiha halal. So he had tofu. I feel like my guy came to Michigan. I gave him tofu. You got a good brisket. I mean, I could have done better.
You didn't hit him with a Dearborn special.
So the problem is we're in Ann Arbor, man. Like I gave him the best.
I'm not gonna pretend to know how far anything is. This is only my second time ever being in Michigan.
All right. So next time y'all come to town, we're going to Dearborn. We're going to Dearborn Meat Market. But I will tell you this: like, my go-to, frankly, is the burger at the place we went to. But you gotta get it fresh.
What's the other like Ann Arbor like especially last time? Okay, fun fact: first ever public appearance I ever did was with the Young Turks at University of Michigan Ann Arbor campus. It was the first time I ever spoke in front of a crowd. This was like more than 10 years ago. I was terrified. Okay, I blacked out. I don't even know what I said. I was supposed to like open for the Young
I think
Turks.
those are the quotes that they keep asking me to respond to.
Yeah, that was.
Oh my! Listen, he blacked out. It was his first ever public appearance.
Yeah.
He didn't know what he was doing.
It was my first ever public appearance, and I still to this day have no idea what I said. But
did you go to Zingerman's? Is that what they took you?
That's what I was gonna say. And I ate at Zingerman's, and it was delicious.
It is delicious. It's phenomenal.
They had those like stacked.
I will tell you. Also,
sandwiches.
the folks who started Zingerman's, big supporters of the campaign. So good politics too.
Is Michigan known for food?
Yeah, like yes, but just it's like Dearborn for sure, and Zingerman's is like the known spot in Ann Arbor, right? It's like it is the platonic ideal of a deli, right? So you think like good deli food, it's fantastic.
Michigan food. Like if you're like, what's a Michigan?
Like you must come to. You gotta eat one thing in Michigan. Right? That is not.
I don't know.
Wow,
so,
you really
honestly,
sold that. You really sold that.
He went hard for that, like that was a real Pennsylvania staple.
Whoa.
That's why we're not running statewide. This is why.
So Detroit style pizza. Detroit style pizza.
We had it last time.
I liked it. You didn't enjoy it?
What is it? Oh,
it's like thicker, square.
Yeah.
And then Coney dogs, which I will say is not my favorite. And then so we have like this like Coney Island that is a thing that is a Michigan Coney dog. It's like a hot dog with chili on top. And it is a thing that's like a very Detroit kind of staple. Werner's, if you like ginger ale.
No, that is cream soda.
No. Werner's is like straight up ginger ale. No, it's like sharp.
I don't know. I got some from Rashida's how like Rashida's office is across the hall from me. It tastes like cream soda.
So what do you
It says ginger ale on it. It is cream soda.
Maybe they gave you Fago.
No, I love Fago. We're from Pittsburgh, we say
Good news is
too.
she's not running statewide in Michigan ever. So.
Okay.
I was like, that's fine words.
It's not cream soda. I'm so sorry. It's ginger ale. It's the original ginger ale.
She's like, it's ginger ale.
I love Fago.
Fago's phenomenal.
We do Fago. We do pop in Pittsburgh, so Fago's.
And I love that you call it pop. I didn't know you called it pop.
We're pop people.
Wow.
I didn't know that y'all called it pop until I was an adult. I thought it was only us.
No, it's like
I'm seeing myself out of this conversation because I don't want to hurt either of their races. I feel like anything I say will be used against them, and this is way more damaging.
All of a sudden, all the local press comes after us.
Yeah.
They're like, wait a second, Hasan calls it soda?
Yeah. No, but the thing is, like,
Of all the controversies.
I think like
Of all the things he said.
in all the places I've visited, like Michigan is so beautiful, and especially like the Detroit, Hamtramck, like the areas where that I saw. If you look at it from the outside, everyone's like, oh, it's in a state of disrepair. It's like destroyed. And I feel like people are faking it a little bit. Like I think the locals are like, yeah, it's totally destroyed. Don't come
Sure.
here. Yeah,
Yep.
it's devastating. There's a lot of crime here. Please don't come here. And it's like, because it's so nice.
No,
I've never
Michigan.
been.
And if
we
you
got,
were,
so we got to get you to Detroit. That's the next time you come through. She's like,
I was in
next time.
Detroit for less than 24 hours. Just once.
Really?
That's it.
Seriously?
Yeah, really.
Hey, I feel like I've done you a disservice, man. I brought you out here and like took you to Ann Arbor and
That Ann Arbor.
Lansing.
no shade to Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor's lovely,
is
Lansing's lovely, but like
beautiful.
Detroit is Detroit.
Is it? We're on campus on the day where they won like a championship.
Something I heard you
I
brought
didn't
that
see
up.
anybody though. I did.
Because everybody's sleeping, man. Everybody was sleeping.
And we were so weak. We came in with the tidings.
Well, thank you for that. We appreciate it. Nothing like a Penn State grad to bring us the victory at Michigan.
Really outing her.
Shared is scary. I know. I was gonna tell none of these students that are from Penn State. I was not gonna mention it.
Honestly, today they're not gonna hold it against you. You'll be good.
They wouldn't even need to.
No, that's rough.
There was nobody outside though.
I think what it was is like everyone was out until about 3, and then now everybody's crashed, and they're not gonna wake up again until our rally. Yeah. No, Michigan is it is an incredible state. Incredible state. Think about like other good food. Shawarma has become like kind of an honorary, right? Like we do shawarma better than almost anybody.
Dearborn had some of the most bomb Middle Eastern food I've had all around the country.
I will have to take y'all's word for it.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, man. I feel like I failed you. Next time you come, Dearborn, Detroit, we'll do it right.
And I'll have tofu again.
No, we got to get you a good kebab.
Oh yeah.
Like we'll get you a good.
It was just that my breakfast was trash.
I'm so sorry, man. Like, I feel bad. Like I feel personally responsible for this.
I mean,
I'm
it's a
sorry.
lot of pressure. You have a lot to do right now.
There's still a couple things. Got to go in an election.
Me and my older brother, like that wasn't.
So Summer, what brought you out?
You, man.
Thank you. It means so much. I appreciate it. And here I am, like making sure, like not even delivering on.
No, it's okay. That's I didn't come for the shawarma.
Yeah,
that'd have been nice.
Yeah, you brought her here. Now she's to stand
I'm like the
next
political
to me.
equivalent of a shawarma.
Now she's to stand next to me and she's gonna get harassed by
To be
people.
fair, we did do like a 3-hour stream
We did, yeah.
in my office.
Where I
mean,
called it the January 6th tour when she was. That's the only reason why.
On that note, like I'm good. My work is done.
That's the only reason why I knew some of these locations. That's all I'm saying. It's so funny. Like, okay, I'll just say this. Okay, the dynamic is so unbearable because, like, not only am I a Tushimer, but like, obviously the things I advocate for are, values that a lot of Americans believe in, right? But also the president is insane.
Yeah.
Like the things he's saying as the president, and he's acting out.
Full on genocide in a tweet. Like,
yeah.
So here's the thing: the fact that he tweeted that.
Politico tried to get you on that. They were like, "Oh, Hasan said this is Hitlerian," and you're like, he's saying he's gonna do a genocide. Like, what do you want? It's unbelievable.
It's pretty believable. This is his second term.
Well, that's true.
This is believable.
You're right. You're right.
No, I mean, but look, I appreciate tension. I actually do. I am one of the few people. I do appreciate tension. I appreciate dialogue. I think that we should talk about things that make us uncomfortable. I think we should talk about them.
Yeah.
I don't think that we should ambush people about it. I think that we should actually have conversation.
Yeah.
Because there are people who are hurting, absolutely. There are people who are pissed off. They're mad at the system. They feel like nothing's gonna change.
Yeah.
They should be heard also. And that's not actually what's happening here. That's like actually not what's happening with you. That's not what's happening on a lot of our campaigns in this conversation. So I mean, you have have a choice at that moment, right? Like to do the greatest good that you can do. And right now, you know, I'm here for you, right? I'm here because we want to talk to these young people. I'm here because like there are people who are in your audience, there are people who are in our spheres and our lives, right? Who want they deserve to hear from us. They deserve to hear from people who want to represent them.
And I think that's exactly right. I'm gonna try something else for size to see if it resonates for you guys. The modern day Democratic Party is like the cool kids table. They only invite you there when they're gonna make fun of you. But for the rest of the time, it's only them having a conversation with each other that is increasingly irrelevant to the experience that everybody else has. And I think the challenge that we have is that Democrats wonder, like, well, how is it that we're losing? Why doesn't everybody realize we're the cool kids? And you're like, everybody hates the cool kids. Nobody likes the cool kids.
They're also not very cool, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's the other side of it.
When I think of cool, I'm not, no disrespect, I'm not thinking of Chuck Schumer, you know?
You're not?
I mean, he's not exactly the dynamic person that I think would, you know, do a lot of damage to the Republican movement at the moment. But I'm not alone. But like,
effectively,
see, that's the thing. Look, I'm vulgar, right? I'm a very passionate person. I get very upset. I have to deal with these people, these right-wing psychos, on a daily basis. Of course, like in ways that many people don't have to, because the medium that I'm a part of is incredibly there's so much incredibly interactive. There's so much back and forth conversations taking place, and of course, like,
bro, I gotta be honest with you, I don't know how you do it. Like, I honestly, I don't think I could do that for 8 hours a day. And then I watch you watch the chat. I'm like, how are you reading this?
I'm reading it right now too.
I'm chatty. I can't do that much.
No,
that's a little bit much.
I was like, it just looks like a word stream. I guess that's why it's called a stream.
Yeah, so people see like those choice moments where like I'm popping off at like someone who's saying some heinous things and they don't get any context behind it at all. And they're like, wow, this person's he's a real asshole, he's real angry. I'm like, you would be angry too if you heard what the other person was saying. You just saw my response to it that's like clipped for 10 seconds. Of course it's gonna look
are you be angry if we keep witnessing us squander opportunity after opportunity to actually get something done? Like, at the end of the day, like, we're in politics. You are politics adjacent. And people want to see stuff get done, and it's like we tiptoe around all the stuff that's really important, right? We're gonna fight a streamer. We're going to
we're gonna have a 2 week
we're gonna do that. We're gonna fight a streamer. We're gonna do all that, but we're going to ignore, you know, people who actually support a genocide. We're gonna ignore people who don't support Medicare for all. We're gonna push all those people out of the party, right? We're gonna, like, young people who are like climate justice, right? We're gonna tell them that they don't know enough, right? We're gonna do all that.
Not this election.
So that's what I'm saying.
About that 2 elections from now, but not this election.
But
to
be fair, like, even when you're talking about like the modern day party and what, you know, what it should be, what it can be, I think that we are really taking liberties by saying that people don't know sometimes what the outcome is going to be of some of these actions. I think it's actually a concerted effort to try to stymie a movement of younger people, of black and brown people, of otherwise marginalized people, working class people, poor people, who actually are desperately trying to discover their politics, exercise, right?
If the whole party gets paid by the corporations who make the problem, and you step up against the corporations who are making the problem, their whole thing is just like, just shut that down, because the money train keeps going.
That's why I have a Abolish Secret Facts Act. To get them out of here.
So
if you need a co-sponsor in the Senate, let me know.
We're also at the epicenter of. We're at the epicenter of like that Democratic Party's failure in the last election. Like, Michigan is supposed to be a blue state, right? And it was very obvious that like a big part of the reason why Michigan was lost was because the Democrats, for some indiscernible reason, I still don't know to this day what they were thinking, decided we're gonna win. We're gonna win with our own design, right? Donald Trump is a monster. I made that very clear over and over again. I warned the Democrats that like they weren't taking it seriously. At the DNC, directly talked to them, right?
What you mean when Vice President Harris invited you to the DNC to stream from the DNC?
Yes, exactly, when that happened, which is weirdly.
What do you think is the difference? I don't know. I can't. You know, what might be the difference now?
But it's again identical. Like in the same problems persist in the way that the Democrats want to like get out of this, where they're obviously throwing these like endless distractions in the conversation in an effort not to talk about the real problem, which is like obviously what Donald Trump is doing in Iran. I think some Democrats do actually secretly, and maybe not so secretly, like what Donald Trump is doing, and they see this as a win-win where they can like tie this around him because it's super unpopular, and hope that hope that like this will be a great benefit for them electorally, and simultaneously they don't get to like disrupt any of their donors or any of their big lobbyists that want them to stay quiet in this moment.
Let me just stop it right there.
No, that's
it, right?
That's the
It is the disruption part. Disruption is the thing that is the greatest sin in our political system right now, right? The greater sin is not answering the corporate like donor. The greatest sin is not literally like commissioning American bombs. You know, in a global world that we share, right? That is not the greater sin. The greater sin is saying that like I want Medicare for all. It's saying that actually I believe that our politics can be more inclusive. That like.
Yeah,
can actually work for people.
Like that, it can actually work for people. That is a greater sin. And I personally think that if the Democratic Party is going to survive this moment, then I think that we are going to have to confront the tension.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is very painful and it's very hard. It's very difficult. I don't deny any of that. But it is actually prolonging the pain for us to continue to tiptoe around each other. You can't tell me that this party is big enough, you know, for people who have, you know, denied so many working class people things. We have people who are anti-union. We have people who do not believe that folks like me, you know, should be able to have, you know, all of the rights, right? That's just real, right? There are people who have not spoken up against so many of the attacks that Donald Trump has had. Like, people like that are welcome to the party, bro. Like, you're gonna tell me that like progressive people of color are not?
I mean, think about this. Josh Geitheimer is welcome in that party.
Yeah, this morning he was defending, I think, like Trump's actions in Iran.
And we're talking about. This is a funny thing. Everyone's like, oh, why you talk so much about the war? I'm like, why do you think you don't have healthcare? Why do you think your kid's school looks like shit? Yeah. It's because we waste all our money doing that dumb shit instead of actually investing in you and your kids and your family and your home and your community with your tax dollars.
Yeah.
And now, like, you know, the crazy thing is, it's like it took gas prices going up $1 for people to be like, man, maybe it's a bad idea. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's been a bad idea. And if you apologize for that kind of politics and you're welcomed into the Democratic Party, which is supposed to be the party of peace, I don't know what to say except for, I'm sorry, your values are not consistent with what you say you're fighting for. And so at some point, the question for us is, yes, I'm gonna call you out on it. And I'm sorry, but like, you can either get right on your values or you're gonna continue to be called out. And what they're trying to do is weaponize folks like you to say that somehow you can't be welcomed into polite conversation unless they do it.
Yeah.
Right, unless they do it. And at some point, we can't sit back and abide near genocidal behavior on the part of the president and pretend like being welcomed in a polite company is really like the table stakes.
No, like the president is both uncivil in his language and also in his actions. He's barbaric, right? I'm at least, I'm not very civil as a Twitch streamer, but the things that I'm advocating for, the things that I'm advocating for, a lot of people are on board with. That's part of the reason why I'm a popular person in this sphere. The only like leftist live broadcaster in a sea of right-wing manosphere content creators. There's a reason for it. Yeah, like I can come across vulgar at moments, but like I would rather maintain the moral majority's perspective while sometimes being vulgar, maybe even communicating in the language that a lot of these people understand, unfortunately, and then to be a civil genocidaire, a civil defender of genocide, a civil defender of the current corrupt system that we have, that would rather take all of our productive output, all of our tax dollars, and spend it on bombing schools overseas rather than building schools in our neighborhoods. And a lot of people, I think, have been so disconnected from foreign policy by design. They think it happens over there, it has to happen. People that pay a little bit more attention are told that we have to do that because our enemies are barbaric, they're monsters, they're violent, and they have to be brought to heel. And
it's like, if we don't do it, they're gonna do it. And you're like, are they though? Like,
yeah,
are they really? I thought that was the reason that we bombed them back in July.
And that's part.
And you told us that it was all super effective, and the threat has been curtailed. But now we're gonna do it again 6 months from now. We're gonna do it again after that.
Yeah, and now you have more sober analysis coming from the people that were like agitating to go to war with Iran as well, because it's obviously had been a spectacular failure.
When you've lost Bolton, like at some point, you're like, we just lost everyone.
John Bolton,
John Bolton.
Michael
Bolton, he lost a long time ago. But
John Bolton has his own dog in the fight. That's why he's like an MEK guy. There's like two different major lobbies in America for Iran. You got MEK on the one side, which lost all support in Iran after they sided with Iraq in that American proxy war against Iran in the Iran-Iraq war. And then you have the Pahlavists, the monarchists, right? neither of them have like a significant support on the ground. MEK has no support whatsoever. They're just treated as like psychotic terrorists for the most part. John Bolton is upset because he was an MEK lobbyist for years and years, and he knows that there was no shot that that was happening. So that's part of the reason why he's been like critical of it. But what I'm talking about is like Saturnowitz, like people who are analysts at like these Atlanticist groups that have openly fomented war against Iran their entire careers, who as analysts are now recognizing it's actually a spectacular failure. So they're like calling for restraint from the outside now that like, you know, their dreams are being realized. It's very interesting. It's an interesting dynamic to observe. Did you guys see the New York Times report that just came out?
No.
It was the former Axios guy and Haberman, Maggie Haberman. They did this incredible report where they looked through all of the, like they basically got in the room. They got quotes from General Kane, Susie Wiles, the Chief of Staff, J.D. Vance, every single person, Marco Rubio, everyone that was like a part of the process of the decision-making process in these like closed-door meetings, they all basically gave quotes to the New York Times. And apparently the only person that offered like light pushback was Dan Kane, which we already knew because he leaked it to the press in the lead up to the war, because he was like, we're going to run out of munitions.
He's also the only serious person in that whole room.
Yeah. And
who actually has to prosecute the actual war.
Like, I don't agree with his worldview, but these people want to continue American empire. They want to continue the hegemony, and they realize that making decisions like this are going to be successful in that endeavor.
Well, you actually have the technical waging of war in front of you, and you actually have to make the thing add up. You realize that actually the math doesn't math. And that's the hard part, right? Like, the math never maths when it comes to war, but we do it anyway. And then they want to tell us that the math doesn't math when it comes to healthcare.
Well, no, I mean, the math does math for some people in war,
that's
right?
True. Somebody always benefits.
Somebody always benefits.
You're correct. Raytheon's doing great. Northrop Grumman doing great. Exxon doing great. Yep.
Doing fine.
Yeah. The rest of us who want healthcare, good schools, not doing great.
Yeah, it's not like, it's interesting because like Trump is not even trying to sell it, right? Like
at the time he's talking about his drapes.
The previous.
But Trump doesn't have to sell anything, right?
Yeah.
Trump doesn't have to sell anything, right? There is no scandal. There is no scandal that essentially sticks with this man. There's been one, right? It's Epstein files.
Yeah.
That's it.
And even then.
And even then, like, he's in them.
Exactly.
He's in them, right? He's up in them, and right now, like,
and this is his escape tactic.
The smoke
right
for
here.
him is just like minimum. Smoke for him is minimum. I can't. Like, let me tell you, the one thing that I get since I've been like in politics, the one thing I get is like, Summer, you're not bipartisan enough.
Yes, of course.
And you're not bipartisan,
so
right?
You just have
so
to
it's like, yeah, you know, but it's real, right? It's like a real conversation, right? How come you don't talk to Randy Fine more, right? Randy Fine is basically just like, I hate Muslims. He just tweets that, like, I hate Muslims. And it's like, should we be bipartisan? Like, what is the line between bipartisan? And then it's like, but here are people in media that you cannot talk to, but I do expect you to talk to your colleague, your Republican colleagues, who have said that they did not believe in your humanity. They've said they're not trying to work towards any of the goals that you're working toward. I work to anybody. If you believe that we can get Medicare for all,
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. It's also never demanded of Republicans.
That's right.
That's another thing that I get
it's like
so
we have to reach
about.
over and talk to them about the shit that they want to do, but they don't have to reach over and talk to us about the stuff that we want to do.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 13 years. I've never seen the Republican Party ever compromise. They never get punished for it either. The base loves when they don't compromise. The base rewards them for obstructing, right? But also on top of that, I've never had like a top speaker for the Republican Party come out and just be like, we want a strong Democratic Party, in the way that like Nancy Pelosi was consistently saying we need a strong Republican Party. Like, that's not. Why are we always conceding ahead of time? Why are we always conciliatory to these monsters that are ratcheting this country in the clear direction of fascism? Like, we're in it now. We're in the fascist waters.
And that's the thing, is that the ratchet always goes rightward.
Yeah.
And then when you're holding a very clear, very easy to defend line, people are like, that sounds extreme. I'm like, what the hell? Like, how many more people does ICE have to shoot in the face?
Yeah.
For us to be able to say, like, we probably should abolish this. When is the line? Tell me when the line is.
Yeah, it's also it's paperwork violations, man. For the longest time, we had the INS. It was separate from Customs and Border Patrol, and you know, they did the agricultural control and things that were like necessary. The FBI was tasked with dealing with like federal crimes in general. Like, we had a working system, and it turned into this like behemoth of a surveillance state. After 2003, like, there are people who are probably voting for the first time in their lives in this election cycle that are, you know, around the same age as ICE, right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that we act as though this institution
It's
is
like written into the
profoundly
Constitution.
important.
I know.
Yeah, it's a profoundly important institution. Oh, what do you want? Our borders to be porous? It's like, no.
I'm like, also, what the fuck does Minneapolis have to do with the southern border? Like, that
Yeah.
should have been the giveaway right there. It's like,
Yeah.
I was there at the height of it. It was 2 below. That's not the southern border. Like, wrong border. So if this had anything to do with actual immigration, then what the fuck are you doing in Minneapolis?
Yeah. Also, not only that, but like, these people, we've done a great disservice to them. Like, there's tens of millions of people that have been working. There are neighbors. They have family members that are American-born citizens as well, and they're going along with this process where they're purposely kept in limbo, right? That's the reason why ICE is going to these courts.
Did you hear about this most recent case? This
The
gentleman,
guy in the base?
Yes.
Yeah.
He brought his wife, and they picked her up
And they
for allegedly
apologized,
trying
right?
to. They had said that she was illegally trying to what was the word that they used? Invade a base or something like that. You're like, she had a deportation order from when she was 22 months, married to a reservist.
Yeah, from like, I think it was like from 2005.
Brought all of her paperwork with her, and you're like, how is this making us any safer?
Yeah. Like, is this productive? What's more productive?
It
Like,
depends on what you.
going-
It depends on what your objective is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
No, I mean, and that's the other thing, right?
They're telling on
It's-
themselves. That's exactly right.
It's simply to soothe the interests of like some of the most radical elements in American society, and it's just dangling this stuff, the white nativist sentiment, in front of them, so that they forget that, like, they don't have a house.
That's all
so
well
that
and
they
good,
forget that
but
they
people
have
don't call
health.
that out enough.
Yeah.
No,
People don't call it out enough, right?
Well,
we keep talking
I
about, like,
do. That's why they yell at me all the
But
time.
that's
They
why
do,
we're not-
yeah,
that's
they
why-
do, but you're an individual. Let's be real. Everything that we talked about, right? Every single impediment we have is very real. Republicans don't get the smoke that we do because we don't give it to them.
Yep.
Right? We don't have standards for them. Anytime that there is a barrier that comes up, it's actually just not an excuse for us to give up, right? Republicans have won on narrative and messaging.
Yeah.
And we have to be just as persistent, right?
Because they take no prisoners.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
precisely. But we have to be just as persistent. I mean, I think the question right now, when we're in the middle of authoritarianism, is: do we want this worse, better than Republicans do, or than MAGA does, or than whoever these fascists are?
Yeah.
Do we want to build what comes next just as much as they do? And we prove that not through our tweets. We don't prove that through our comment sections. We don't prove it. We prove it by actually doing it.
Yeah.
And there are so many different ways that you can do it. And actually, it is a responsibility of all of us. So even as we talk about whatever your lane is, right? We talk about electoralism. Is electoralism a real lane? Right? Is, organizing, right? Should it be organizing? Should it be
Yeah.
labor unions? It's
Narrative
actually
creation.
but it's actually each and every one of those things.
Yes.
Whatever your lane is, you still need to take in the responsibility
Yes.
of actually changing this.
Yep.
No, absolutely.
Yep.
And like now more than ever, right? Whatever the impediment is, we need to be on top of it.
and it's also
sometimes our
like-
impediment to progress actually isn't as sometimes it's incredibly structural.
Yeah.
And sometimes
It's just
it's
a
very
matter of will.
flimsy. Sometimes it's very flimsy.
And it's also like being willing to do multiple things. So like, at the end of the day, people play this game with us all the time, right? I'm sure you've gotten it, Summer, I got it. It's like, well, here's this one thing that Hasan said. Do you now condemn him and everything he stands for? And I'm like, in what fucking world does the world work this way? Like, in what world would you condemn somebody for something that they've said if you're serious about the project of actually persuading somebody? Because the last time I checked, if you actually want to persuade somebody, you would go and have a conversation with people you might disagree with and all of the people they talk to and talk about, all right, here's how I see it, how do you see it? The problem is, though, Democrats have actually given up on the idea of persuading. I think we don't actually believe in what it is that we're about. And too often, folks see this as a team red versus team blue. Team blue's got to win, but part of me is like, what are you winning team blue for?
I think that I also think that we use categories too much. Like Democrats don't believe
I agree
this,
with
right?
that.
Republicans don't believe that. I think that
agree.
there are tons of Democrats, tons of everyday people, from various. I think that we keep trying to fit people into this, like, you're left
Box,
or you're
yeah,
right
yeah.
or you're
Yeah.
middle, right? And
you're
people
right.
actually don't orient themselves that way. I think that there are people all over this country that care very deeply about a whole bunch of things, and they're genuinely and
And they
earnestly
don't-
trying to figure
yeah.
out, like, like, how can they move the needle? They actually don't care about a whole bunch of the banter. They don't really care about a lot of this discourse, this conversation. The news cycle is not putting food on their table. What they're trying to figure out is who takes this seriously enough, and then how can they then align with that, right?
Yeah.
So we have to give them that reason to. I'll tell you one thing. Listen, I'm a black woman in America. People ask me to reject things all the time. They ask me to condemn people who I've never met. They ask me to condemn people who I've never had any connection to. Like, it's a thing. I'm very used to it. I will say that I became a state rep I ran in 2018, right? That's the first time I ever ran for office. In that time, I've run every 2 years. I have never once done a negative campaign. Unless ever asked about an opponent, I do not like smear my opponents. I don't evoke them. I don't talk about them, because I think that what we need to demonstrate is that politics is a neutral, can be a neutral thing. Right?
It can be about what you're for.
It's not inherently evil. And if no one is demonstrating what politics are for, like you miss that. So people we're in a condemned culture because people are like, they know that negative politics is such a wedge. You know why it's a wedge?
I love that point.
Because it disenfranchises people. Right? Back in the day, they used to be able to just literally write into a law that you cannot vote because you're black. You cannot vote because you're a woman. They can't do that as easily anymore. But what they can do is they can run you out using the tactics that they know work. Negative politics always run people out of elections.
I love that.
Because what they learn is that it doesn't work. As soon as somebody goes negative, you punch back, they punch back, you punch back, and the conversation is no longer what we can accomplish collectively. It's no longer like, what will you do? What are you building? It is now what my opponent isn't, what they won't do. So I don't spend all of my time focusing on the negatives of other people, because other people will bring it up. I try to spend my time on like what we are here to build, which I believe very deeply in.
Politics by inclusion rather than politics by exclusion. I think, you know, at the end of the day, also we take this idea of politics as being a competition between, and the more I've realized is that, like, I'm running statewide in a gigantic state, 10 million people, and I want people to know me warts and all. That's it. Like, my job is to build a relationship with folks where you know what I'm gonna think and what I'm gonna say, because I told you what my beliefs are, and that you can predict based on what my beliefs are what I'm gonna do.
What you gonna do?
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, if that includes solving your problems, making sure you can afford a home, making sure that you're not caught up in gobs and gobs of debt, making sure your kid's school is a dignified place for you to go to, make sure you have healthcare when you need it.
On earth.
Yes. Like, if folks understand like that I am going to show up for those fights every single time, then that's what I got to do. Now, if folks choose that that's not what they want, okay. But also, it's not just your fight. That's right. It's all of
inherently, right? We are representatives.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I've not run for an executive position, right? We're representative, which means that like we can tell you what direction we want to go in. We can tell you, we can learn from our people, right? Because we're representatives. We learn from our people what they want, and what they need. I think I have a pretty good grasp on what people in Western Pennsylvania.
Well, I think the people in Western Pennsylvania have said so.
People in Western Pennsylvania have said so.
The last 8 years, right?
Right. My job is to go there and fight for that.
That's right.
Not alone. Right. It is not to be alone. It is. I might be alone when I go into the House floor. Yeah. But that should be the only place where we're alone. That's right. When we go into the House floor. Any other time, we should be with people. People should be with us. Like, we don't win by just electing people and sending them away.
This kind of stuff, like even the conversation around Israel has shown once again that, especially now, like, people are willing to reward those who demonstrate moral courage at times when others wouldn't, right? I don't even understand how the large majority of the party have not launched an opposition to what Donald Trump is doing, both in Iran, but also opposition towards the current relationship that we have with Israel that needs to be re-examined and needs to change, especially because it's a 90-10 issue in the base for the Democrats. And it's like almost an 80-20 issue for independents as well. Even Republicans are actually questioning this unlimited support that we have at a time when Israel has displaced another 1 million people in southern Lebanon.
I mean, they're getting ready to annex southern Lebanon. Yeah, that was always the worry.
And they're also literally saying they're demanding in southern Lebanese villages. The Israeli government has openly said they're going to turn it into Gaza, and they're going to southern villages in Lebanon that have, you know, their Christian villages and the non-Shia villages, and demanding that they reveal if they have Shia Muslims in those villages that they're sheltering. This is exactly what happened in the Holocaust when Germany occupied all these other countries. It's unbelievable that, like, we can't call into question the actions of our supposedly foreign ally that we're giving unlimited weapons support to at a time when Americans are suffering here. It's unbelievable.
We're also torching, what, $1.5 billion a day?
Yeah.
In a war
As a
that
conservative
nobody
estimate.
wanted except for Benjamin Netanyahu, and he finally found somebody stupid enough to go fight it.
I mean, what can we do with $1.5 billion a day in Michigan?
I mean, here's the crazy thing.
I mean, I'm gonna fight for it to come to Pennsylvania, but like,
Yeah,
what
I mean,
can we
look,
do?
Israel
Just
bombed a
$5 billion.
synagogue. Israel bombed a synagogue in Tehran yesterday. They bombed a synagogue.
That's
And they came out and they were like, "Oh, sorry, it was collateral damage." Like it's unbearable. The inconsistency.
I mean, there is a long
hypocrisy.
history of Sephardic Jewish folk in Iran. You're talking about like long range Jewish
they've been
history
there
being
for
destroyed.
thousands of years.
And that's the other part of this. Like, I just want to just be like absolutely clear about. At the end of the day, right? I think all of us have been extremely clear that when it comes to standing with the Jewish people, when it comes to uplifting and empowering Judaism, right? Like, nobody understands how important that is, right? As somebody who's been discriminated against.
Yeah,
All three of us
absolutely.
is like,
You're Muslim man in America.
If anti-Semitism exists, so too does Islamophobia.
Yes, it
so too
always
does
run together.
anti-blackness.
Yes.
They are never far apart.
yeah.
Which is why to abide one is to welcome the others.
Yes, and like, and that's the thing. is
And
that
I will never do it.
The reason that we stand up against genocide is the same reason we stand up to fight anti-Semitism, because
Yes.
you care about people and all of their forms. But like, this notion somehow that anti-Semitism and the definition of it can be pulled when it comes to defending Israel, but that if somebody critiques Israel, right, that somehow is impossible to do without being anti-Semitic. That to me, like, we have to address that. Like when the ADL came after us, I was just like, come on, man, please stop doing this. This is dangerous. It's dangerous.
We don't talk about it, but like, I mean, this happened with Zoran too. It's just racist. Like, it is so Islamophobic to be like, oh, this guy who has spent his entire, like, I spent my entire professional media career combating anti-Semitism. It's part of the reason why a lot of neo-Nazis on the internet despise me. They've doxed me, they've swatted me, they've come after myself and my family for years, right? And I've never shied away from fighting against anti-Semitism, as I do all forms of bigotry. So it's unbelievably cynical to launder these kinds of smears, specifically because of my avowed anti-Zionist principled stance against genocide, principled stance against fascism, no matter which form it takes. And it is just like with Zoran. He's like unbelievably careful, unbelievably conciliatory. He is so empathetic in his language and the way that he communicates on these issues, and they still smear him endlessly, where they're like, oh, he's an anti-Semite. At a certain point, you have to realize, like, yeah, it's a lot of pro-Israel people. A lot of people who are pro-Israel are very Islamophobic. The ideology requires you to dehumanize Muslims in general, like, and this is what it is. So if a Christian nationalist, a white nationalist, comes out and says, oh, a black elected is going to take away my way of existence, my way of life, we don't sit around and think about that endlessly. We don't turn around and say, oh, well, maybe this person has a valid concern. So it's ridiculous to like pin these marginalized communities against one another.
Yes, that's right.
Actually, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
Every
Too often
time.
we do. Yeah.
I think people forget that all the
I'm
time.
saying,
like,
I'm saying,
every
but like
day
in this
I
world, like, yeah.
experience like,
Yeah.
But I mean,
and it's
like,
okay to say that. I think that oftentimes we're trying to compare it as like, yo, if this was a black person, or if this was a that person, if this was a that person, we would never get away with it. And it's because we live in silos and we don't live other people's experiences.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Actually, what I meant is like broadly, I think like liberals
And also
in
get what you
general, like broadly liberals in general, like kind of understand if there's like an avowed, anti-black candidate that's like demonstrating anti-blackness in that way. Like most people are like, liberals at least will be like, wait a minute, like why are you saying this, right? Even though, of course, anti-blackness is a fundamental principle of American politics. That's what I was trying to say in a way where like a lot
I
of
saw a
liberals.
post that somebody was just like, yeah, it's like bad. The president has done like anti-black things too. It was like he tried to, get monuments removed in Philadelphia, which is like terrible, obviously. Like, oh,
Yeah.
But also, if you took a year's worth of Donald Trump's policy just in this term,
Yeah.
and the thing that you can say is the most anti-black thing he did was that, it's because people don't recognize
true.
that like structural racism is violent too, right? Structural racism might not be,
Yes.
someone with a gun to your head. It might not be, it's not a bomb to your church in Birmingham anymore, although it has been that in times. But it is structural. Like if black women don't have jobs, yeah, that's actually violence because you know how do you go to the doctor, right? That's a real thing, right? If black folks and other, I don't even talk about anybody else.
Like,
but
no, do you remember when Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon's conversations were like unearthed a couple years ago? I think it was in Trump 1, where Ronald Reagan had said some heinous things about like African diplomats.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and liberals were like, oh my God, I can't believe Ronald Reagan is anti-black. And I was like, what, this is how you realize? Like, a lot of people are so optics focused.
Yes.
You're absolutely
and
right.
that's why it's like
they're
white
focused on the
hood,
optics.
like
burning
cross.
They need to hear
it's
someone.
politics a symbol.
But that's also why
substance.
people struggle with anti-Muslim hate right now.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't manifest like a white hood, you know, and a burning cross.
Until it does.
Until it does.
Yeah.
But anytime you see dehumanization of people, you see a genocide following.
Yeah.
All the time. Which is why, if we've learned anything from history, whether that history be the history of chattel slavery, history of the Holocaust, or the history post 9/11, right? We should recognize that when people are able to en masse just like dehumanize people, that I expect that we are about to commit atrocities against them, because that's what fascists, that's what evil people do, right? They desensitize people to the humanity of the folks who they want to then conquer, the folks who they want to subjugate. And I just want in 2026 for us to take a beat and see that for what it is, right? We have watched in Gaza just like dehumanization of Palestinian people. I see it often, and I still don't see American politics willing to talk about
reckon with
this
it.
way,
Well,
right?
I mean,
willing to talk about it that way.
This whole
and their family members.
And they're now
that live
doing
here.
it in Iran, and we will do it elsewhere. We've already done it in Sudan, right? The reason why people cannot talk about, you know, a genocide there, people can't talk about the Congo, because we've already long since, you know, dehumanized Afro-descended people, right? We're doing that more, and I do expect the Democratic Party to speak out against that. I do, because I do because right, black people, we have learned, you know, by the sword, like what it means to live and die for rights, not just for us, but for everybody, right? To know that we cannot go to the Republican Party. There is no house, there is no home for us, right?
Yeah.
But in this home, I want this home to be structurally sound. I want this home, right, to keep us warm, to do all the things that it needs to do for us. And I have greater expectations of the Democratic Party than I have for the Republican Party that I don't care for, right? I don't need the Republican Party to get their shit together, because I'm not rooting for them,
when
right?
you say your values
I'm not
are about,
rooting for them.
When you say your values are about uplifting and empowering all people, then that means you got to uplift and empower all people.
And come hell or high water,
Yeah.
I will force that. And listen, I've been called all type of things. I think everybody in this van, we've all been called very many things, and that's okay. And at the end of the day, though, I will still stand up for marginalized people wherever they exist. I will still stand against all forms of hate, and in doing so, I will not allow some people who are very reasonably scared, afraid, all that, and some people who are weaponized. I will not allow either of them to stop us from being able to build together forward. Right? We're not gonna. Our coalition is not going to exist if we tiptoe around each other in that way.
And
so
the thing
let's talk about it.
that's clear in what you're saying is that's not out of. This is what they always try to weaponize. That if you want the good things for people who don't have them, it's not because out of any hatred for people who do have them. It's out of love for everybody and the folks who don't have them, right? It's not that hard to build in America where everybody gets healthcare. It's not that hard to build in America where everybody has a good job.
That brings us back to our real opposition, the real ops, guys. The real ops, these corporations.
Yep. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like
super PACs.
If one group's greed is built on the notion that not everybody can have
anything, some people have nothing. Some people have nothing.
And then
the common denominator in Trump's administration, the first one and the second one, is him and the people he likes getting richer and richer and richer, and your gas prices getting higher and higher and higher, and your grocery bill is getting higher and higher and higher.
Your life is getting siphoned,
right?
For his greed.
For his greed. And if I could. Don't get me wrong, it is very hard to build with somebody who doesn't see me as a whole human being, and I'm never going to excuse somebody for feeling that way. But also, I do need people to know that Donald Trump, MAGA, all these corporate donors, these people are like, they're playing you.
Yeah, they don't see you. They don't see you as a human being either.
They don't.
And they're using like built-in social conditioning and pre-existing resentment towards marginalized populations, black people, brown people, and they're dangling that as red meat in front of your eyes, so you actually forget that you're being robbed blind.
Every
You're
day.
being robbed blind every day. Like, there is no reason for the wealthiest nation on earth to not be able to provide health care to every single human being unconditionally. No reason whatsoever. They've sold us a bad bill over and over again.
Well, how's
and
the
they
CEO
just
of the
keep it
insurance company
going.
going to make 18 million bucks?
What?
How's the CEO of the insurance company going to make 18 million bucks?
Exactly.
Honestly, he'll still make some money.
It's always parasitic forces of capital, faceless, lifeless, shareholder value that we care about, that we place in front of the needs of American citizens. That's why I always say, like, when people yell at me, when people come into my chat to yell at me, they're like, oh, you're an Islamic fundamentalist, terrorist, whatever, which is really funny because I'm also the most woke, right? I'm always like, look, man, you say all this stuff, but I'm still gonna fight so that you get health care.
Also, I love that when people are like, you're an Islamo-communist. I'm like, listen, man, you, one is either an Islamist or a communist. It can't be both. Like, you got to pick which one you think he is.
That's like that's also such a like a European line too. The Islamo-Gauchism is like that's like a very, we're trying to import European style.
We should import European style healthcare. Let's do that one. But yeah, to be very real though, those Fisher, like those tensions, the little resentment that you talk about, there is a strain of us, sometimes too often even on the left, that doesn't want to address that either, right? And let me tell you something, if we don't do something about this resentment in this country, it is our country's greatest weakness, right? We have with Donald Trump in office, we have a number of weaknesses, right? But that right there, it is the easiest thing for another country to manipulate us. They can't march, they can't bring troops into the United States, they can't reach us, they can't out-arms race us right now. But what they can do is they can tap into our natural fissures, and that is our race relations, right?
Exactly.
That is the resentment that we have between, poor people and the haves and the have-not. Those resentments really actually are keeping us from building this better world that we really have an obligation to build. And it's important to like not just like brush that aside.
To the question that you asked about healthcare, right? You know the number of times I get people who are like, yeah, but I don't want my dollars going to somebody else's healthcare. You're like, but what if their dollars come to yours?
That's a very rugged individualism.
But half of that is about racial resentments about who deserves to get health care.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like,
why don't we have these social programs that other places have? I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, no, it's been
which is why we need to do something about racism.
It's an incredibly successful way to divide the working class. It worked in the Reconstruction era, and it certainly worked when Reagan and Reaganomics was like running amok in this country.
It also worked with Roosevelt.
So conciliatory towards that as well. What?
It also worked with Roosevelt.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Both of them.
Absolutely. There's always this unnecessary compromise that doesn't need to exist at all. And I think part of that is because people are too afraid, like our representatives, our electeds are in certain instances too afraid to say the truth. This has been one of my main principled forms of communication where I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter. People are smarter than we give them credit. If you just are honest with them and you have a moral backbone and you tell them exactly what's what, the best you can hope for is charitability. And I think a lot of people will hear you out if you keep hammering on that message. And
yeah, but we gotta protect people who say the truth, right? Because Cori Bush told the truth.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm gonna hopefully see her on May 1st.
So this is the thing that people don't really appreciate about how the sausage gets made. So, we're gonna raise and spend, what, $13-15 million? And the biggest spender in this race is gonna be AIPAC.
Oh yeah.
And so it's funny because people are like, why are you always talking about AIPAC? I'm like, well, they're the candidate you don't see.
AIPAC is the only money that, other than like Jeff Yass, AIPAC is the only folk who ever spent against me.
Yeah.
My opponents don't even have their own dollars.
And that's exactly it. So like they come in here, they drive the outcomes of elections by doing these nameless, faceless attack ad campaigns. 3 times now?
This is my third
time. So we have to be serious about the fact that that's how politics works right now. Because of exactly this, you've got super PACs that can move money.
People do not understand that hard. To be clear, I don't only talk about AIPAC, but I do because I do, and it's not only.
You got to talk about AIPAC.
You have to. I have to because that's the race. Because that's the race they came in. Those are races of my comrades that they came into, right? So I will talk about it. And also, people are now replicating what they learned from me. My first race, it was just like, it wasn't Summer doesn't agree with Israel. right? It wasn't any of that. It was Summer's not a real Democrat.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
It was. It was like, is Summer a Trump supporter?
So AIPAC
right?
has made
Like,
themselves bigger than the Israel issue.
Yeah.
So when I say AIPAC, I'm saying AIPAC and all the things that they color themselves
and
in.
now CryptoPac does it, and AIPAC does it,
It's-
and others will come in and they will do it too, because we see that we can go, especially into like poorer communities, right? Where you like, where would I get $20 million to run from, guys? Hey guys, black women are the most underfunded candidates. Give money to my brother right here too, obviously. But black women are the most underfunded candidates.
Yeah.
And then why does AIPAC target districts like mine? Because they know that my black ass can't go to my own, right, to poor communities. They know that poor candidates, poor community leaders can't go to these marginalized working class communities and raise $25 million to counteract their influence, right? So they do that. So they target those districts. And it fundamentally keeps us from being able to have a representative democracy, because these communities don't get to make their own choices. Don't get me wrong, they do. These communities are not stupid. Voters are not stupid, absolutely. But an ad on the TV 24/7, 75 mailers saying this person is that, being able to define a person. Yeah, man, these people don't get informed consent.
Yeah.
And they deserve that.
No, it's a malign influence on the democratic process unconditionally. And it's not just AIPAC, it's all of these corporate PACs
it's all of them.
that do everything in their power to never actually tell the truth about why they're dumping boatloads of money into these races.
No mechanism of accountability.
Illinois races that took place last month, AIPAC dumped like 30 million. Israel was not mentioned once in any of their promotional ads for their candidates.
They have never been mentioned since UDP has existed.
The candidates themselves never mentioned Israel once either. And they did this through subsidiaries like, Elect Women PAC, or like they have all of these.
And now you got folks who run around being like, I don't take AIPAC money. You're like, you're right.
Why not take that
you
money?
take money from a super PAC that AIPAC funneled money into.
But that's also why we have to be very clear that we want to abolish super PACs, right? Because I personally don't care who super PAC it is. Yeah, abolish all super PACs. They're like, what about your friend? No, all super PACs.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But in one race in Illinois, right, we had AIPAC against one candidate, right? It was like AIPAC was for another candidate.
Yeah,
crypto for a different candidate. And these people in this district are just trying to make the best decision for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's just like money just flooding in.
Yeah.
And fundamentally what happens, the more money that comes in, the less likely that working class people are gonna have representation, because working class people can't go into their phone, call up $1 million a quarter.
Can I do 10,000 points for my candidate?
Yeah. but here's the thing. That's the other side of the story, where like I think part of the reason why they're hitting me super hard as well is because I'm an uncontrollable entity, and it's clear that like I've been duking it out with some of these forces of influence for quite a while, and it's gotten to a point where I think they're a little bit threatened, because like there are groups like Track AIPAC, for example. There's like all these other groups and all these other independent media outlets that are now popping up that do a lot of damage to the tens of millions of dollars that they're dumping into these races. When we go through, independent outlets that conduct investigative reporting like Dropsite, Zateo, many others, and we point out that like what you're seeing on your television is actually an operation to undermine democracy, a way to try to confuse you into making the wrong decision and push for a candidate that doesn't align with your values. And in the past, I think corporate media played ball with a lot of these entities, with a lot of these groups, but independent media doesn't do that. They're trying to create
that's
their
where
own
the ads
version
get bought,
of that.
right? That's where the ads get bought. That's exactly it. Like at the end of the day, that money goes somewhere, and it usually goes into a corporate media pocket, because that's where the ads get bought.
Yeah.
And like that's the other side of it that you have to kind of recognize. And our system, unfortunately, right, does not create a situation where you have to say what you're actually for, unless you're a candidate campaigning for yourself. Everyone else gets to hide behind these fake names, right? United Democracy PAC, like what does that mean? UDP, what is it? United Democratic Project, Democracy Project?
Yeah.
That is a PAC, super PAC of choice.
I was one of the first candidates at that PAC existed again.
Really?
At least
And until
DMFI has Israel in it. DMFI, Democratic Majority for Israel. At least it had.
But do they run ads as DMFI?
Yes.
Oh, do they?
They
did.
did.
Well,
They did.
you
Until this cycle, I think I was the only candidate to live to tell the tale.
Wow.
Yeah, they.
Bless you.
Thank you. It was tough.
I can imagine. I will tell you though, they're about to make my sorry weak ass beard. It's gonna look like Hasan's by the end of this campaign cycle.
they're not unbeatable though, right? Because like we said, people do understand what's going on more than ever before. I think like this is why whenever people when I do these like college campus tours and stuff like that, people are always like, how do we deal with the nihilism that we feel? Because I think a lot of people experience tremendous apathy when, and I saw this with my own 2 eyes in the 2020 cycle as well, you know, you had these mass protests, right? You had Black Lives Matter protests everywhere, and no solution came. We taught an entire generation that if you go out and you exercise your First Amendment, we're gonna stamp it out. And then you're gonna plug your nose and you're gonna vote for an old man that maybe you might not have, that might not have been your first choice. And you're gonna do that as well. You're gonna exercise your civic duty, right?
Yeah, your civic duty doesn't like just end at the end of the day.
Yeah, but we taught people that basically if you do everything by the book, no change will still come. And then we did that again with Gaza, right?
Yeah.
Student protests. I went to all these campuses and colleges. They were so good.
In
at
25
messaging
years,
discipline.
the colleges will talk about how great those protests were.
Exactly, just like they did in Colombia with like the anti-apartheid protests and the anti-war,
Absolutely.
anti-Vietnam
But
War.
that's the lesson that every generation hates when students exercise their First Amendment right.
Yeah.
But every generation also needs it at the same time.
Yeah.
So we condemned it when it was happening in real time with Gaza, and now we're like, well, we're all the protesters.
Y'all,
Yeah,
just remember this.
exactly.
Hey, when we're all like
the students.
70, let's just never forget we had this conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't ever want to be one of those jaded folks who's like, this is just how the system works. You know what I mean?
My
No, for
trajectory,
real.
my
It's very
trajectory
real.
is I've become more, I've become more left as time has passed. So I don't think I'll be doing
Everybody
that,
doesn't avoid the
hopefully.
trap. Some people do though.
Yeah.
God help
Because
us.
you do. It's like actually when I talk to like young people, the thing that makes you most powerful is that you still have just like an expansive idea of what's possible.
What's possible? Yeah.
Like,
I will say, man, with this generation, like it's gotta be tough. Imagine you're 25 years old. You were born in the year 2000.
I think we're here.
Yeah, we are almost.
Ooh, you guys want to see the line outside? Someone sent me
yeah?
a photo.
I want to see it.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Yeah, we got super off topic. Like we're about to go onto this college campus. We're gonna talk to young people.
No,
we're
but
gonna
that's
tell them what they
exactly-
have to
so
offer
this
to
is what-
democracy.
But that's
what
exactly
democracy
it.
have
Well,
to offer them.
well, it's actually, to be honest, man, I just like to level with
It's
folks.
super
I'm
cool.
like, listen, man, at the end of the day, I can't promise you we're gonna win, but I can promise you that you're gonna hand this off to somebody you love, and you're going to tell them what you did to try and protect it.
Yeah.
And that's the best I can offer you.
And the
Someone
fight and the
link me that
revolution
again to
and it
Macy's.
goes on. The fight
Yeah,
goes on.
the fight goes
man.
on.
To Macy's,
The fight for
link me that
liberation is
photo
constant.
again.
They deleted it.
No, it's just I lost it because it's always moving. Oh, Adam Wren posted it. All right, let's see. It's taking a while to load, but yeah, I mean, we probably could have had a bigger. We could have done if we did an outdoor.
We could have done bigger.
If we did an outdoor setting, it probably would have been. How big are the rooms?
We would have stressed my security officer.
Oh yeah, how big are the rooms?
He's done a great job.
I think there's 600 plus we got spillover.
Oh yeah.
So we got
mean,
1,000 RSVPs per.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And we shut it out. We shut it off like a week ago.
Yeah,
You can't shut them off. You gotta let them keep RSVPing.
I've done
They're
some
students.
pretty
That's true.
done some pretty big rooms in other places, and usually it's there's tremendous response from the campus. Okay, it's
They're
not
done with
loading.
spring break, right?
Yeah. They're. I mean, so we end a bit early. So they're about 2 weeks away from finals. Actually, in Michigan.
So you guys like us? So for us, well, you have to be, right? I have a May primary. So Pitt, for instance, is usually out by the time
Yeah.
our primary is.
I mean, we're
so when we
August.
talk to right. So
We're
when we talk
August.
to like young people, like where you can vote.
We're getting them signed up to volunteer, and then hopefully when they go home into their communities, they become volunteers in
a
their
lot of them
communities.
still from Michigan.
Yeah. Especially on these campuses. You at the University of Michigan, you have a bit more out of state, but even then, you're still talking about like 45% in state. At MSU, probably 55%, 60% in state.
And then they'll call their parents and their grandparents.
That part, that generational organizing.
Yes.
I mean, like, we actually we're about to put together a script called like how to talk to your parents about.
How to
Abdul.
talk to your parents about a tool. That's awesome. What's like the first thing on there? What is the first thing that you want the parents to know?
He really does care about my life.
Aw.
He really does,
That's super sweet.
and he
There's
really
a line
wants you to have
around the
health
building
care.
apparently.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
That's how we do.
Well, those people are going the wrong way.
Hey, the rally's this way. There you go.
Oh,
there we go, right here.
There you go.
Oh, look at that.
Boom.
Yo, can I make a quick request?
What
What
is
up?
it? Is it a song?
No. When y'all get out the car, take a video. Like step out, quick pose, and then move on.
I want you to know that everybody just heard you make the plan.
It's alright, this is our video, not them.
Oh my bad. They still heard you though.
It's also, it's just behind the scenes stuff. Thank you for that.
I got you.
I appreciate it.
You're supposed to be my co-signer.
No, she quickly forgot who you were.
That's crazy. I'm here for
That
you.
was crazy.
That's wild. I'm like, literally here for you.
Is that why the pub speaking back
He's like, who are you?
No, I was just saying like he's telling the whole. It's like no, I'm just saying like everybody's watching this stream and it's just like well they're about to do this. And I'm gonna go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm the official signer. It's gonna be the clean cut. This is the behind the scenes. Dirty talk.
We broke the group.
Oh no. Oh yeah. Did that happen 12 minutes ago?
No, this
That
is,
just happened?
yeah, this is 17 minutes long.
It's like a New York pizza spot.
Watching the stream right now. There he is.
Yeah, they're definitely. They're in the chat. It's still going around. It's going around the building.
It's not a Kofia's, bro.
All right.
Like that.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
We ain't gonna let them in. It's a little bit chilly out.
I definitely have to pee. 'Cause I've been slamming this Monster Bev.
There's a lot of
Parking spot right here.
Damn, bro, you got a real line.
That's a line.
Right?
We don't play in Michigan.
I know that's right.
We don't play. Oh, okay. This is where we're getting out. Okay.
Wait, let him here. Yeah, you can get out.
I will. Sorry for the flashbang chat.